Some very heavy thunderstorms rumbled across Chicago last night, this morning, moving across the southern part of the Great Lakes here.
Out in Arizona, we've had a lot of flash flood watches in place. You can see the Tucson area dealing with some flooding.
Appears that we may have had a tornado in upstate New York. This is some video out of Hamburg, and that's usually a city where we're talking about lake effect snow, not tornadoes. Pay attention to the wind direction as this stuff is coming through. It's coming from the left to right, and now it starts to move from the right to left.
Here's a look at some of the rainfall totals overnight into this morning. Some spots in Wisconsin have picked up over 7 inches of rain.
The sun is brutal and the heat is relentless.
And the other story here out the north central is the heat. Widespread heat advisories, heat warnings could feel as hot as 105 to 110. There are many heat advisories in place here. That's where you see all of the orange colors. New York City, Providence, Rhode Island, getting close to the Jersey Shore there, D.C., Baltimore, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And then you get into this red area that includes southeastern Pennsylvania, down to Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Trenton, New Jersey. Looking at showers and storms, that flooding potential, we will have to keep an eye on rivers that have seen flooding. The Des Plaines River last week had an incredible amount of flooding.
We've still got a severe threat that is underway. What we're going to be looking at through the afternoon, the evening, is a chance for some damaging wind in these storms and maybe some hail as well, but damaging wind will be the #1 threat.
The biggest thing is they continue on for miles and miles and miles. Couple hundred miles. So if you're in Minneapolis,
huge winds.
Yeah, Minneapolis to Detroit potentially could see something like that when you have them go for a long period of time.
Right.
Heads up New York City, a little bit after rush hour, you'll have some pretty nasty storms rolling through.
This setup is the ring of fire pattern that we've been seeing for the past couple of days.
And we're going to be in this pattern here for the next couple of days.
So over the course of the weekend, it's going to be a little bit unsettled here, but this extends all the way eastward across the mid-Atlantic states and into southern New England.
Still steamy, but unsettled as we head into Saturday.
Stay cool. This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents Hit the Button, baby. Welcome to Asteroid Fight Club. I'm your host, Thor. Today we are a month away from the eclipse, and the only thing we have to do is recognize the situation at hand and come together as one functional family. Because we are all God's children, and we are all in this together. Things are extra crazy, ladies and gentlemen. We are taking our weird weather watch up a whole nother notch. It has gotten weird. That's right. That's right. It's time, y'all.
Numerous storm reports from Wednesday throughout the north central. Most of them hail, but really a good chunk of them were wind reports.
Residents in the Midwest are cleaning up after severe storms left behind a trail of destruction on Wednesday. In Crawford County, Wisconsin, trees are down everywhere and several buildings are damaged. The Prairie du Chien Airport suffering the most extensive damage. In Minnesota, heavy rain spawning flooding and mudslides. Hundreds in the small community of Arcadia forced to evacuate as Turton Creek overflows its banks. The storms producing more than just heavy rains and strong winds.
There was even a wind gust yesterday in South Dakota, 100 miles per hour.
Wow, take a look at that. Taylor, Arizona, flash flooding. It's monsoon season, and that has been making for a lot of flash floods. There's a look at Las Vegas, Nevada yesterday, where the rain was coming down.
That's an excessive heat warning.
So that's some serious heat. Now, on the northern part of this high pressure, we are going to have severe weather.
Hot, steamy weather continues to surge out of the Gulf of Mexico, out of Texas.
And with all of the humidity in place right now, our biggest threat is going to be downpours that could lead to some flash flooding. Out in the north central, some areas have seen over 7 inches of rain just within the last several hours. So
this will be the main focus of severe weather today through the northern part of the country, Fort Wayne, Cleveland, all the way up to Rochester. So even parts of upstate New York, you'll get in on that.
Buffalo, New York, Interstate 80, Interstate 90, those are just a couple of locations. We'll have to watch out for downpours, damaging winds, and also some hail possible. And it only takes a thunderstorm or two to really make a situation go from okay to bad in just a couple of minutes.
It is still sweltering. I love that term, sweltering. And more thunderstorms out here. Now,
it's going to kind of drift its way to the south and east as we head throughout today. So the Storm Prediction Center outlook has a slight risk area over western New York, Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, down along Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania and out toward the Ohio Valley.
It's hot.
And the biggest threat is going to be that heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding, also damaging winds and hail.
But look what happens as we advance tomorrow. The jet stream, as we said, controlling what's going on. You can see out in the west as the jet stream goes way northward, but there are some thunderstorms. But look at this dip that occurs here during the latter stages of the week and the weekend. It says the weekend up here. It dips southward, and that pushes a little bit of this cool air southward. The main thrust, though, of all these thunderstorms is going to be right along that jet stream, and that jet stream is going to act as a conduit for all these storms. They're going to extend all across the Great Lakes. Here's the arrow that represents the really the movement of that hot air. It says hot right there along the I-95 corridor and out in the central Mississippi Valley. Over 110. By the middle of next week, the jet stream is way north again. Hot weather is going to build again in the Plain States, and it has the potential to move eastward again during the latter stages of next week. A lot of storms over the course of the weekend in the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes area, and then into the eastern states, and then probably sticks around that way for a while into the early part of next week. Then the heat builds out here in the middle of the country again and tries to move eastward.
Then the hailstorm began and continued for what seemed like a long time to those in its path.
The sizes all the way from the big marbles to the golf balls.
Many homes around town suffered damage, including broken windows and damage to vehicles. The Newell School was also in the wrath of the storm.
Estimated roughly 30 windows broke out of the school. What we seen last night, there could be more. We're still assessing the damage. We had hallways flooded, classrooms flooded, the gym was flooded, skylights broke, lots of damage.
I shoveled up 3 5-gallon buckets in my kitchen alone.
And the garden is totaled.
It's another sticky day throughout the Northeast, and it will be so hot today, it will feel as though temperatures are above 100 degrees. So if you don't have to be outside today, it's certainly a day to stay indoors. The I-95 corridor, Boston, all the way down to Richmond, temperatures today are going to be in the 90s. You factor in the humidity, the amount of sunlight, and also the wind. Well, real field temperatures could be as hot as 105 to 110 degrees.
Things get really interesting in the Midwest on Friday because you notice some of the same spots that were just affected by really bad storms Wednesday night are going to be under the gun again. The creeks and streams are already running very high, especially in parts of Wisconsin. So
Friday into Friday night, typical summer-like humidity. To the south, it's steamy. And then off to the west, the Ohio Valley, Pittsburgh, Erie, Pennsylvania, showers and storms around. They become more numerous as we head into your weekend. We look at the flash flood watches that are in place right now. South of Salt Lake City, we do have a flash flood watch in place, and that continues right throughout this evening.
with the additional rain here, it's not going to be much before we have some major flooding issues.
Now here's a look at the rainfall forecast over the next 7 days. Monsoon season continues. Flash flooding threats continue. Flagstaff, you could pick up 3 inches.
Omaha today, looking at highs near 100 degrees. Chicago, showers and storms Friday and Saturday. Minneapolis also looking stormy as we head into the weekend. And so we are talking about some serious rain coming down throughout parts of the north central. And the thunderstorm threat will continue as we head right throughout the weekend, which could lead to some flash flooding.
Flash flooding is not only going to be a concern today, but Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday as well.
And the biggest threat is going to be that heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding, also damaging winds and hail.
If it's happening in a galaxy, then toys all over it. Hurricane, solar flares, planet X. How humanity's gonna destroy itself at each other's necks. Yeah, I don't know if you know this. No, I don't know if you know this.
It was a wild, severe weather day.
Just some nasty storms.